Vice President Kamala Harris sat down for her first major interview Thursday since becoming the Democratic pick for president. It comes after facing criticism for not sitting down with the media in the first month of her campaign. Joined by running mate Governor Tim Walz, Harris was pressed on issues where she changed policy views like banning fracking. Harris was also asked whether she would handle the war in Gaza differently by potentially withholding weapons to Israel.
I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself.
And joining Capitol Review is Niall Stanage. He's the White House columnist with our media partners at The Hill. Niall, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you, Mark.
Well, what are your biggest takeaways from the Harris-Walz first sit-down interview together?
I think the most important one is that there were no real major gaffes here. Now, I don't think it was an especially stellar performance either by Vice President Harris or her running mate Governor Walz, but the main thing from their point of view is not disrupting the momentum that they have been enjoying. There were some stronger moments, some weaker moments, but I don't think there was anything like a kind of disaster or major disruption to their campaign. And so they get to check the box of having conducted a major media interview.
What stood out the most from the sit-down? Some people discussed how at least the vice president was pressed on some of her changes, her policy changes. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that is a real political vulnerability for Vice President Harris. There have been questions around her authenticity for some time, and it relates to this propensity to change position. That sort of issue of authenticity was one of the major reasons why her 2020 bid for the Democratic nomination was very underwhelming. So in terms of the CNN interview, I think her comments on fracking were not her best moment, to put it mildly. To make this clear, she once supported a ban on fracking, now she doesn't. She tried to sort of glide over the fact that she had changed position, but Dana Bash of CNN, of course, had the old quotes where Harris had said there was no question that she supported such a ban, and now she doesn't. That was not a great moment for her.
Well, now, you know, many people were questioning why she was so reluctant to do a sit-down sooner. What's your reaction to that?
I think there is a legitimate point of criticism there. I think because of the highly unusual circumstances in which the vice president became the nominee, she wasn't exposed to the scrutiny that anyone is when they have to contest a whole primary to win the nomination. So I think there is legitimacy to the criticism, and I think that the interview with CNN only goes part of the way to resolving that criticism. And I say that because the questioning, though pertinent questions were asked, was also quite mild. I don't think you would really describe this at all as an adversarial interview. So I imagine that people who are, let's say, skeptical of Vice President Harris will remain skeptical even after this sit-down.
Speaking of skepticism, have you heard anything from the GOP or the Trump campaign? Any reaction?
Well, there was reaction from former President Trump as this was going on when he took to Truth Social to lambaste it as boring. Now, it may or may not be boring, but again, getting back to our previous point, boring is kind of fine from the Harris campaign's point of view, because what they wanted to avoid was some spectacular failure. So if this is regarded as a forgettable interview, I think that's fine from their perspective.
Niall Stanage, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.